We have a beautiful green day today. We got Bitcoin also testing the 100K level. And that's not because of anything that happened yesterday on the FOMC. It's because we finally have word of the first trade deal between the United States and the United Kingdom. It's actually, it was a mystery, but now Trump's announced that there's the first trade deal between the US and the UK, and that's obviously holding up Bitcoin. But let me warn you that it's not such a good deal, and we're going to talk about why it's not such a good deal. The other thing that I want to talk about today is I want to talk about this chart over here. So I want to talk about the ETH BTC chart, which has finally had a breakout after the 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗄 upgrade. And this breakout has caused the BTC dominance to break down. And what 𝗲𝗏𝗀 says is he thinks that Bitcoin dominance actually topped today. He said the daily, weekly, and monthly DMARC tops in place. And the top is well below the 2021 top that was below the 2017 top. And he says if this plays out, the hallmark of the next banana zone happens. So if you are waiting for the banana zone, you may actually have the signal that the banana zone has actually started. So I want to talk about those two things today. I think it's going to be a big show. If you're not already subscribed to the channel. Otherwise, let's get the show on the road, guys. It's a really big day in crypto today. I'll tell you that much. Really big. Not only because it's green, not only because Bitcoin is attacking that 100,000 again. I'm going to show you why I think we're actually going to fly through the 100,000 today. I'll show you exactly why. But I don't know if you guys saw this deal. And, you know, at the face of it, it just looks like another merger or acquisition. But Coinbase is actually acquiring 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏 for $2.9 billion. Now, here's a crypto company that was started from scratch. It's probably the leader in its field, and it's getting bought for $2.9 billion. I think best of all, this company is domiciled in Dubai, right? So you can kind of see that the US companies are looking for strongholds in Dubai because they know that Dubai is becoming like one of the crypto capitals of the world, right? So there's huge news happening in crypto. I think it's amazing when news like this happens in crypto because it just shows how big this industry is. You take that, you combine that with what 𝗏𝗏𝗧 said yesterday about stablecoins and how stablecoins can be a massive buyer of US treasuries, and you kind of realize that crypto is really becoming one of the, like a global force to be reckoned with. And so I think today is a great day. As I say, not just because of the green, Anyway, today we're going to have a big show today, but just a reminder, we are playing this new game that I created yesterday, which, by the way, 𝗏𝗏𝗀 don't really like very much. So the game goes as follows. If you open any account with 𝗏𝗏𝗀, and if you don't know what 𝗏𝗏𝗀 is, it is an exchange where you can trade spot futures, no KYC, which means anybody can sign up anywhere. By the end of the show, if you sign up during the show, by the end of this show, you might have $5,000 in your account. As we did yesterday, I'm going to get a spreadsheet of all the people that sign up during the show. And before the end of the show, I will give away $5,000 to one lucky viewer. So if you're not already signed up, if you're one of the most reliable, most amazing futures exchanges, you need to sign up with this link over here. Otherwise, your name isn't going to go into the thing. It's this link over here. This is the link. Bang. That one. Sign up with that link, and you can get into the draw for $5,000. I gave away $5,000 last night. I'm probably going to give away $5,000 today. All right, let's get the show on the road, guys. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. If you haven't obliterated the like button, obliterate the like button. Let's get into the alpha. I'm going to bring you guys never-ending alpha here today on this green day. So yeah. All right. So we have Bitcoin 99,500. So there's a couple of things that you need to note about this level. If we break the $100,000 level, and the $100,000 level is not even a level on the charts. Oh, 99,887. Hold on. This calls for the market prayer because I think we can do this. Oh, is it back to 99,500 now? Oh, I thought we could just play the prayer and I think things would work, but we can do it anyway. Okay, so I think we can do this by the end of the show. We'll try and get Bitcoin up there. Anyway, the thing with the 100,000 level is the 100,000 level is not a level on the charts. It's just a psychological level, right? And once we break that 100,000 level, theoretically, the next stop is actually the all-time high. So you got a little bit of a stop here at 106,000. And so I read this tweet by 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃. It says Bitcoin has almost completely recovered from its first price discovery correction. And now it's heading back towards testing that price discovery top level that it hit back then. And so now we're really heading to potentially break the all-time high. The exciting thing for me about breaking the all-time high is if we, and we're not far away. I mean, we're $6,000-7,000 off, 6 or 7% off. Once we break that all-time high, what happens then is we invalidate Ben Cowan's thesis of the higher low, right? So we invalidate the lower high thesis. And then the whole breakdown thesis actually starts to break down. And then that really puts us into a winning winning state of mind. So that's the first thing. And I think this Bitcoin price, the thing that's driving the Bitcoin price really isn't the FOMC that happened last night. I mean, you guys were live with me here last night. This FOMC was pretty dry, but there are a few things that you need to pay attention to. And I think a lot of it comes out in what Powell said over here.
If the large increases in tariffs that have been announced are sustained, they're likely to generate a rise in inflation, a slowdown in economic growth, and an increase in unemployment.
So a couple of things to listen there. To. He says, if the tariffs are sustained, then it's likely to increase higher inflation but slower economic growth. And that is the worst case scenario for the Fed, because higher inflation usually comes with higher economic growth. When you get higher inflation and it comes with low economic growth, that's stagflation. And that is something that the Fed is really scared of. I got the feeling last night that Trump potentially could have cut rates, because when you look at the inflation and you look at the unemployment, the inflation's pretty much gone and the unemployment's at very good levels, right? But I think that Trump shot himself in the foot. And the reason why Trump shot himself in the foot is because he created this uncertainty with all the tariffs. And now you've got all this uncertainty. And as a result, Powell's basically saying, look, I can't reduce rates. I just cannot reduce rates. It's impossible because I don't know what's coming up. I don't even know what the tariffs are going to be tomorrow. And so, so Powell didn't reduce rates. And Trump this morning came out. He said, too late, Jerome Powell is a fool who doesn't have a clue. Other than that, I like him very much. Oil and energy are way down. Almost all costs, groceries and eggs, virtually no inflation. Tariff money pouring into the United States. The exact opposite of too late. Enjoy. So, Trump just couldn't hold it in. He's obviously been briefed. Listen, you've got to be nice to Powell because you're causing instability in the markets. But he can't hold it in. And so, I think in this case, I've got to say that actually I'm much more on Jerome Powell's side than I am on Trump's side, because we don't know what these tariffs are going to cause, right? I do believe that Trump reduces the tariffs very soon, and that lots of trade deals are going to be done. And now let's just look at the market here. The market's telling you that there's a 20% chance of a rate cut in June, on the 18th of June. Also, we're forecasting 1, 2, 3 rate cuts this year. 3 rate cuts this year. That's what the market is telling you right now. Obviously, these things are changing every single day. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market. All right, let's talk about the reason why the markets are running. As I said, it's not because of FOMC. Because it coincidentally happened after FOMC. Wow, while we're doing this, look at the ETH chart. The ETH chart is finally catching a bid. We finally got ETH catching a bid. 1981. Finally, something's moving here after the Pectra upgrade. 100K. Someone said we hit 100K. 96,000. No, I've got 99,600. It's on the top corner of the screen. All right, let's talk about why the market's running. The market's running because we finally have a trade deal. We have a trade deal that's finally coming out, being announced at 10 a.m. EST. I think we'll still be live when it comes out. And if we'll still be live, we'll actually cross over to the White House and we will listen to what this trade deal is about. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. Before we talk about the actual trade deal, I agree with the dude that writes our newsletters. He says the first US trade deal is revealed. But is it bad news? It is bad news because if you scroll down to the thing, he says, he basically says, he breaks it down here and he says the UK deal is not a big deal. And so, you can read this all. It's all in Good Morning Crypto. Good Morning Crypto is free. Just click here, sign up to Good Morning Crypto. It's our free newsletter. It comes out before the show. Everything that I talk about in the show is in Good Morning Crypto, so you know about it, right? So, okay, so why do we think it's not a good deal? So the first thing is, Trump announced this yesterday, and there was lots of speculation as to who this deal could actually be. Initially, we thought maybe it could be India. And the reason why we thought that the deal could be India is if you look at the poly markets, earlier on, what we saw here in the poly markets was we saw that India had a higher probability than the United Kingdom. But the first deal seems like it's going to be the United Kingdom deal. I think it's a bad strategy, and I think it's a bad deal. And I'll tell you why I think it's a bad strategy and a bad deal to announce. So, and you can see that the stock markets actually think what I think. So even though the deal has been announced, you can see the stock markets are only up 0.66%. Why? Why is that happening? So let me explain to you pretty simply why this is not a good deal and why this is not a good strategy. And it actually shows a lot of weakness on Trump's part, right? So a good deal for the US would be a deal that is done, but because the US is a net consumption nation, and when I say a net consuming nation, this is a nation which consumes more than it produces. And because it consumes more than it produces, it is a net consumption a nation, right? Now, a net consumption nation should be doing a deal with a net production nation. So if the US did a deal with China, if the US did a deal with India, those are countries where the US imports more than it exports, and therefore there's a trade surplus or trade deficit, depending on which side you look at it. So here's the list of countries. And you can see that the biggest trade surplus or the biggest trade deficit that the US has is actually with China. So why? Because the US exports 130 billion, but imports 401 billion, right? So there's a trade deficit here, right? What you can see when it comes to China, from Mexico, Vietnam, India, those are countries where the US consumes a lot more than it produces or sells to these nations, right? And so doing a good trade deal, if you want to do a good trade deal with one of your big trading partners. Now let's look at this list and let's just look at where on this list you find the UK. I was actually very, very, very shocked to see this. Like, look how far down, even Fiji is like better than that. Even Namibia is like, it's Southwest Africa. Okay, so you go all the way down here and you'll find the UK. It took me a long time to find it earlier. Hopefully I'll find it quicker now. But look how low down. No, it's minus 10 billion. Let's just quickly see. It should be somewhere here. Am I going blind? Okay, let's look slowly together. Okay. No, but we don't want to search because what we want to see is how low down. Josh, when you see the flag, just tell me. Okay, the first one to spot the flag gets a prize. You see how low down, you see how unimportant the UK trade deal is. Bro, I think it's actually gone lower than when I looked for it earlier. Cheapest, look at this. Come on, now it's become a joke. Okay, now it's really become a joke. Okay, there it is, United Kingdom. You see that? That's how low down and unimportant this list is, okay? Now, so when you look at this trade deal, it's really a trade deal by a country which is not really an important trade partner. Now, strategically, I mean, let's just look at some other stats and some other facts and figures. First of all, the main thing that these two countries trade amongst each other is services, not even goods, because in Britain, you don't really consume or produce a lot of goods that are sent to the United States, except cars. And in the US, the same thing. And I think the discussion here, if I remember correctly, the discussion here is around cars and around aluminium and around pharmaceuticals. So that's where this deal is going to come out. We're going to listen to Trump when Trump comes out to actually talk about the specifics of the deal. Hold on a second. They're saying, someone says UK is at the bottom. Yeah, UK was very, very far towards the bottom. Okay, so they're going to announce this deal today. I just looked at the numbers. The numbers pretty much tell you that from a trade point of view, not the biggest trade partner in the whole world. And what we actually wanted to see was we wanted to see a real deal and a big deal. Now, strategically, if I was Trump and I was announcing the first trade deal, I would make sure that the first trade deal is like my best foot forward, right? I would postpone the small announcements so that they're all pale in comparison to the big announcement, if there was a big announcement. But obviously, it feels like there's not a big announcement at the moment, right? At the same time, remember that you've got Scott Bessent flying to Europe this weekend to meet with China. And we're not expecting any deals. Like, we're not expecting any deals, except there's one guy on our research team. He was expecting a deal. I don't know why I was expecting a deal, but he was expecting a deal. Anyway, long story short, there's not going to be a trade deal with China this weekend. And interestingly enough, I was actually watching this on CNN, just listening to how scary this actually is.
I'm looking out at the port of Seattle right now, and we currently have no container ships at berth. And that happens every once in a while in normal times, but it is pretty rare. And so to see it tonight is, I think, a stark reminder that the impacts of the tariffs have real implications. It means that we don't have longshore workers on the dock right now unloading merchandise. We don't have trains taking that merchandise to inland ports and all the way across the country to places like Des Moines, Iowa, and Chicago, Illinois. And that's hundreds of jobs right here in our region and across the country.
You have none at your port right now?
We currently do not have any container ships at port right now. That's correct.
It's crazy.
And that's because just nothing is being shipped over? I mean, that's pretty remarkable.
Well, it is. It's pretty unusual. We do anticipate, I was looking at our schedule, we anticipate about 25 vessel calls between here and the port of Tacoma over the next 7 days. And keep in mind, we're not just importing from Asia or just China. We do have activity from all over the world, largely the Pacific Rim, but we are seeing a significant drop in container volume through our
so
gateway.
Look, it's getting scary, because what's happening for sure is the economy slowing down. That is for sure. People are not importing as many things. The manufacturing obviously hasn't been moved onshore to the United States, which means that Trump is slowing down the economy. Now, the thing is, when you slow down the economy, but you also increase prices at exactly the same time, you got a problem, because then you're going to hit stagflation. And the Fed can't fix stagflation with putting in more money into the economy, because then you got high inflation. You can't put more money into the economy during high inflation. You can't loosen the reins during a period of high inflation. So Powell's very, very, very much walking a tightrope now. And I mean, you heard the implications of the fact that there's no container ships there. Like, you heard the implications. Anyway, that's we've got the White House stream here. Let me just refresh in case there is a White House stream. I think it's starting in 15 minutes if it's going to happen. If it's going to happen, it's starting in 15 minutes. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime, I want to talk a little bit about this Bitcoin price bump, because I'll show you one of the arguments that could take us over 100,000. And that is, as I said to you before, there's no key levels between here and the top. There's like a level at 100K, and then we're going straight through to all-time high. The other thing that we're seeing now is that we've got some more confidence in the markets. When I say some more confidence, the leverage degens have actually started to leverage into Bitcoin at the moment. And that's, of course, like, shows that there's more confidence in the market. You can see it here, and you can see it here. So you can see it over there. And that green candle is just more leverage actually going into the market after FOMC and after this trade deal has actually been announced. The interesting thing is, if you look at the funding rates, so this is the funding rates. The funding rates are green and purple. Green and purple means negative, right? So the funding rates are very, 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 very low. When you have low funding rates and you have a pump, that reduces the likelihood of a liquidation flush, right? Because it means that there's not a lot of liquidations, or people aren't aping into things like that. So we did this chart. This chart just shows you the funding rates the last time that Bitcoin hit 100K, the last couple of times that Bitcoin hit 100K. What you'll notice is that, like, the first couple of times the market was so heated that we were 13%, 19%, 11%, 10%. So you can see very rarely have we broken the 100K. Very, very, very rarely have we broken the 100K with low interest rates, right? And now we've broken the 100K and we've got a 2.85% interest rates. Here, we broke it on a low interest rate, but it was on the way down. On the way down, there's no demand, right? And so very, very few times, I think there's one time over here. This is the one time where we actually broke. But do you see how much higher we went when we broke on low interest rates? And so what we've got here is we've got a Bitcoin at almost 100K, but the froth in the market is very, 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 very low. And that's a good sign that the market could actually continue to go higher if nothing else happens. Okay, so that's a very good sign that maybe the next leg will actually be a higher leg here. The other thing that's probably worth noting or the other chart that's probably we're talking about, because I know you guys are all about a bunch of degens, is this chart over here. Well, I mean, we're looking here at the bubbles, and you can see that it's the altcoins. And what we're seeing here is we're seeing a big breakdown in Bitcoin dominance. That's quite a significant move in Bitcoin dominance. Let's just work it out in percentage terms for the sticklers. There we go. And that will take us there. It's about a 1% breakdown in Bitcoin dominance. Now, I'm not very excited about this, but Raoul Pal is, and he says, look, I think Bitcoin dominance top today. There are daily, weekly, and monthly demark tops in place, and the top is well below the 2021 top, and that was below the 2017 top. If that plays out, it's the hallmark of the next phase of the bananas. And I would quickly just show you what he means here. If you go into the weekly chart, which is this chart over here. So let's quickly go into the weekly chart. And what you can see is if you take the 2017 top, then you get the 2021 top, which is over here. Let me actually make it bigger for you guys. And then here, the 2025 top is lower than the 2021 top. You've got this like breakdown over here, right? So the reason what that means is that altcoins are becoming more significant at the highest part of the cycle, which is where we were last cycle and where we are now. What's causing this breakdown today is actually this chart over here, which is the ETH-BTC chart, or the ETH chart, which is this chart over here. So this is the ETH chart. This is the ETH dominance chart. This is the Bitcoin dominance chart. That's the Sol ETH chart. You can see right now ETH is really, really, really killing it relative to Bitcoin, relative to ETH, and relative to all other altcoins. And the reason why that's happening, well, I don't know if that's the reason why that's happening, is either because the market is feeling a little bit more in a risk-on mode, or it could be because of the Pectra upgrade, because the ETH Pectra upgrade actually happened yesterday. You remember we spoke about the upgrade. It was quite a big upgrade in terms of what the network can do. I wasn't very excited about it in general. I just didn't feel like very motivated about the upgrade, but it looks like there's a little bit of a heartbeat in ETH. I'm very worried to get excited because, you know, you get excited about an ETH pump and then you just get washed out. So, I mean, you can kind of see structurally what this ETH washout actually does. Raoul Pal's not the only one who actually thinks that this might be the thing. Henrik, who's a big regular on our show, he says, I see same. If when confirmed, this will prove to be a massive top, and an alt season will actually be underway. So he's actually calling for alt season to be underway. Who knows? I mean, I think that alt season is a swear word. Josh, do you still use the word alt season? Never. Guys, okay, if you haven't signed up for Bitfunded, for Blowfin, sign up for Blowfin using the link. These are the UIDs that have already signed up. You could get $5,000 by the end of the show. You can. Your spreadsheet yesterday was inaccurate. I was not on the list. That's not good. You know what I think we should do to make it more fair? Let's do it. Let's be a little bit more fair. And let's say that we'll select the winner by tomorrow's show, because maybe there's a delay between the Blowfin system and actually getting people onto the list. Also, some people are watching this show not on the live because they can't make the live. So let's be fair, and we'll give away the $5,000 tomorrow. What do you say? I think that was cool. All right. Yeah, so you got ETH exploding. Everyone's now talking or asking whether this could be the beginning of some kind of alt season or something to do with alt season, right? I mean, I do want to remind all the ETH bulls that the first time Bitcoin was 100K, ETH was at 4K. The second time, 3.9. The third time, 3.7. The fourth time, 3.4. The fifth time, it's at 1.9. It's like that's not a good ratio. Anyway, let's hope that the altcoins actually run. Let's quickly look at the altcoins, because we are all a bunch of altcoin degens. Virtual's up 20%. Pengu up 20%. What we can see here is the market gives you clues as to which narratives and which tokens are going to run. It seems like it's about a 10% move in altcoins across the board. Let's see if there's any outliers here. Could someone explain to me what this... Oh, it's Sol layer. Okay. Is Popcat over 40 cents? 47 cents. Sure, I might actually make my money back here. Mog going up. I think that's moving on the back of ETH. Super up 8.2%. Super's doing fantastically well. Let's go at the stocks quickly. What is this app? Applovin Corporation. Up 11%. Palantir up 4.29% after AMD. Jeff Bezos bought into that. Up 3.66%. Google up 1.39%. Okay, let's just see some of the smaller stocks. Gee, this guy's having a bad day. Fortinet. Bad day for Fortinet. Did you know you could pop the bubbles if you don't like them? So like what my kids do in the morning, I say to them, look at the bubbles. And what my kids say is they know if it's green, then it's going to be a good day. And if it's red, then it's going to be a bad day. So what they do is they just pop the bubbles. See, and then it resizes all the other bubbles. So like if you wake up in the morning, you don't want to see like, you just want to have a good day. You just pop all the bubbles like that. I think in crypto, you probably don't have to pop too many bubbles today. What bubble is that? Pop it. Pop that one. Pop that one. Okay. The thing with altcoins is if we do get an altcoin run, there could be massive potential in the altcoins. The reason why I say that is we did this little spreadsheet to show us what the first time that Bitcoin hit to 100, the one before 5th of December, we looked at like so ETH was at 3,840. Today it's at 1,958. Sol was at $236. Today it's at $154. Shows you how much the altcoins or most altcoins are lagging. So 𝗬𝗎 is actually up from the last one. They've been making all the right noises. They announced, I thought they announced it at the 𝗬𝗎 breakpoint. We announced it to you guys way before. Specifically, we announced frontrunners. We announced the frontrunners way before. They did a deal with Pokemon. It's not called Pokemon. It's called 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏 spoke about it yesterday. Let's just go to 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏.
Hey everybody, this is 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏. We're working on something absolutely massive, and we believe it's going to really shift momentum in crypto. Remember when we said we want to work on projects that bring in millions, if not hundreds of millions of users to the 𝗧 ecosystem? Well, we're doing just that. One of the things we did recently is acquire a company called 𝗪𝗀. They've been working with some of the top IP producers in the gaming industry. Remember the scenario where you're younger and you were looking forward to receiving a massive booster pack of cards and hoping to get the ultra rare edition of a card? Well, imagine recreating that experience on chain with 𝗧.
So that's what they announced. I think it's called 𝗪𝗀, something like that. That's the 𝗬𝗎 company. I saw that Kyle Chassis actually announced it on his Twitter. The only thing is, I don't really like to show that because he always starts his tweets with holy shit. It's quite weird how he does that. Hold on, let's just quickly go to here. Oh, now it's gone to breaking because usually he says holy shit all the time. Lots of tweets in a day. All right, well, anyway, that deal actually was announced. All right, so we agreed that tomorrow we'd announce the winner because there seems to be a lag. Some people did complain. Ran says, someone says, Ran, Team India or Team Pakistan? Team Peace, bro. Team Peace. Team, we must all be friends and all be one happy family. I've got friends in India. I've got friends in Pakistan. I've got friends everywhere. Oh, should we, you know what? Should we screw a little bit with the guys from Bitfunded? You know how Bitfunded works? You trade with other people's money. So you effectively choose a plan. You can trade a $10,000 account, a $15,000 account. You pay $149. If you pass stage 1 and stage 2, then you go to stage 3 and you're trading with other people's money. But now, let me try and get hold of because the guy the founder didn't answer our phone call yesterday. Let's phone him. I wonder if he actually even watches the show. Yo!
Hello, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
You know you're live now on my show, bro.
Oh, wow. How many people are watching?
How many people are watching? 3,200. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Can I give away buy one, get one free of any Bitfunded challenge? So if you buy the 100K one, you get a 100K one for free. If you buy the 50K one, you get the 50K one for free. 24 hours. I'm asking you for 24 hours.
Oh, bro, you can't do that so often.
Bro, come on. Do something. I mean, you know what? I'm doing it, bro. Forget it. I'm doing it.
Okay.
I'm doing it,
24
okay?
hours.
24 hours. Okay, buy one. You heard the man.
24 hours.
24 hours. Guys, you heard the man. Buy one, get one free on Bitfunded for the next 24 hours. All right, I'll see you again in 24 hours. Actually, wait, hold on. There's 3 minutes until potentially Trump is live. Should we? Let's just see. Let's just ask the researchers. Let's see. Is Trump going live? Let's check the newsroom. We've got 3 minutes together. Let's we got 3 minutes together. Let's see what's happening in the newsroom. Coinbase to acquire 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓. Oh wow, this is all my comments, huh? Okay, that's yeah. Let's have a look here. Let's have a look here. Is there anything going on, guys? Anything going on in the markets? Researchers, anything going on? Is Trump going live? If Trump's going live, that's amazing. Pray time. No, we only pray when we're on the border and we can actually influence the price. Trump's live streams. Yeah, but exactly. Trump is always 40 minutes late. He's much worse than me. Much worse than me. Much worse than me. Okay, let's chat again in 24 hours. Remember, you got 24 hours to sign up to Blowfin and sign up to Bitfunded. I'll see you again in 23 hours. Until then, trade well, my friends.